Hey everyone, Matt here. It is Wednesday. That is the main event time where we go over our main topics for the week. So if you're watching or listening, this is the meat and potatoes of the episode. If we happen to have any news to discuss as well, that's where we'll talk about it here. For the full episode, check us out on Saturdays. Thanks for watching and listening. Hope you enjoy.
Thank you so much for joining the Stack Your Points podcast. As always, we record every week. I'm joined this week by my co-host RJ from Do You Take Cards. RJ, how are you today?
I'm doing very well, Matt. The Packers won. They beat the Texans, which makes me very happy. Tariq, I'm sorry that your state team it lost. I don't think the Cowboys are America's team anymore. I think the Strouds are America's team. So we beat them though. I'm very excited about that.
Packers fans, please watch out for your cars. We're also joined by Tariq from Reek's Rewards. Tariq, how are you this evening?
I'm good. Cowboys are America's team because America loves to make fun of them. So I'm glad, but they had a bye week, so no one cares. I gave up on the Saints, so they don't stress me out anymore. And UTSA won this weekend, so I am feeling quite good.
None of you know sports pain. I'm a Mets fan. And finally, we're joined by our special guest, Key from Kiki's Kiki Adventures. My goodness, sorry about that. Key, how are you today?
I am wonderful, wonderful. My Yankees are in the playoffs. Who are the Mets?
The better team in New York.
And this is the last time we'll probably have Key on the show.
No. I'm sure some bookies made quite a bit of money this week. That's all I'm gonna say on that one. Whether or not they happen to go into a certain clubhouse, we'll see. Because you just never know what's happening to your bank accounts ever. So we're gonna move over to our news and topic segment of the week. We do have one piece of news that broke today on the day of recording. We have Citi adding preferred hotels and resorts, their I Prefer program, to their list of transfer partners at a 1-to-4 point rate. So 1 Citi point equals 4 I Prefer reward points. And I noticed this when I first started my scanning of the day, just for like tidbits and stuff like that. I did mention it in my tidbits video, but Key had a really nice video about this. I mentioned it earlier or later, depending on when you're watching this. But Key, can you tell us a little bit more about this transfer partner rate?
Yeah, for sure. So first thing first, I don't know why they decided to do this, or maybe there's something wrong with the website. But in order to see how many points per night you need, all you need to do is go to iprefer.com. Do not go to preferredhotels.com. I'm not sure why it's not showing the available hotels that are bookable with 100% points. It's only showing cash plus points bookings or just cash bookings entirely. I'm super excited about this. So real quick, I'm going to do another video most likely, more step by step. I don't really like to do those types of videos. I like to leave like the nuts and bolts for people that like to click around. But the I Prefer program has 6 different tiers to it, starting at 15,000 points per night, all the way up to 150,000 points per night. Now, with the transfer ratio that Matt just mentioned being 1-to-4, that's as little as 4,000 Citi thank you points per night, and as many as 38,000 Citi thank you points per night. Fantastic values, definitely there to be found. That's all I'm going to say. Go to the website, click around, self-promotion, watch the future video for sure.
Now, Key, we don't usually do like the nerdy cent per point thing. And the video today you showed one. When you do that longer video, are you going to also include like this is the transfer cent per point ratio? This is what you get with those like 15,000 points per se. But if you look at it another way, it only cost you 4,000 points to do that.
Yeah, that video was already recorded, and I decided to do just the Citi thank you points per point calculation. So, for example, for the 15,000 point, I instead used 4,000 Citi Thank You points for whatever the cash rate was to get the cent per point ratio there. Because I imagine there's not a whole bunch of people that probably have a whole bunch of I preferred points. Just kind of assuming that there may be some, so don't come at me.
No, totally fair. Because when I think about that math, I'm like, oh wait, that you showed 6 cent per point redemption at the 15,000, but since it's only 4,000 points, that's going to be more like what, an 18 cent per point redemption or something like that.
That math was still on Citi points, so it was truly a 6 point
Oh,
redemption
okay,
for sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
got it.
So,
Okay,
yep.
I thought there was even more insane value there. So it sounds, and I prefer has a reward chart. You saw?
They don't have a reward chart that I could find. I just
Got it.
went through the 400 properties and was curious the lowest amount that I could find and the highest amount I could find. And I actually
Okay.
went through the calendar as well. So there are definitely some blackout dates, but honestly, not that many. I think I saw Lake Como had probably the most amount of blackout dates, but that kind of makes sense, right? That makes sense.
I can definitely see like Como being a place that would have a lot of blackout dates. Yeah. Okay. So I may have phrased it wrong in my video because it sounded like it was a Hyatt style award chart, but with 2024 prices indicative of like what your points would actually be worth if you did inflation of points. But I may have been wrong there, so that's fine.
Yeah, yeah, but still, I think it's high-ish because there's not many programs that have, right, like every single night is going to be that 4,000 City Thank You points, no matter what. Like if it's, I'll just say like New Year's, right? It's still going to be that amount per night, no matter what, according to the research that I did today. So still pretty
Interesting.
close.
I know that I prefer like at those higher end resort type places will have, if they have partnerships with like Choice or someone else, if the hotel does, like the I prefer stuff is maybe a little bit better in terms of their amenities, which is somewhat interesting.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. These are definitely boutique properties. So I think even if you're talking the lowest limit one, I still think we're talking something that is a higher echelon of some of the properties that are more commonly talked about.
Nope. Got it. Tariq, any thoughts on this new partnership for City and preferred hotels on the I Prefer program?
So just kind of looking at it, I think it's pretty cool. It kind of gives like a fine hotels and resorts or the MasterCard World Elite equivalent to like the hotels that like they mentioned, like the boutique hotels. And I mean, one city point to four of the I prefer points, and kind of having like a moderate, kind of like a chase, or not chase, Hyatt adjacent type of rewards availability. I think it's pretty cool. And I'm just even looking at like the membership tiers, and like even the basic one, you get like a contingent early check-in, late checkout just on like the basic member tier. And I mean it's a three tier. So like everyone's gonna get like that basic kind of silver, and then like there's the gold or the platinum, gold, platinum, titanium, however they do it. And it's I like it. I think it's something, maybe I can dabble in, and maybe even have like a backup ecosystem where I just start earning city points. I mean, I have a custom cache. I can get a good amount of points on the Strata Premier, and I can, kick my Freedom Unlimited or my Ink Unlimited to the curb and just use a double cache as a catch-all. So, I mean, I think it's pretty cool. I might even potentially look into it. Maybe do like a boutique I prefer hotel stay on top of that, and maybe just make it like a plan C type of thing where, obviously like for like the regular stays, like I'll have like the nice Hyatts, and then like my everydays I'll probably do like my IHG, maybe splurge on like an Intercontinental or a Kimpton, and then, see what the availability for I prefer, and seeing like how that program works, and probably dabble in it because safe to say I like it. I think that's all I can really say on it. It's cool.
So how fast are you signing up for a co-brand card if they ever announce a co-brand card?
Hey, take it easy there, partner. Slow it down. I still got to go through Chase first.
What if it's a Chase cobrand card with a business card? All right. Anyway, we'll move on. RJ, any thoughts on this news today? Always adding transfer partners is good, I know, but any additional thoughts?
I'm happy for the Citi people to get good news. I have no other thoughts other than that. This is just not a thing that personally for me moves any needles. But if you're in the Citi ecosystem, you now have another option. It's a good transfer rate. 1 to 4 is nice. Amex, if you want to do that for Hilton, I wouldn't be opposed to it. But yeah, no, I don't have a lot of thoughts here. Citi is not an ecosystem I spend a ton of time thinking about. They're just not an ecosystem that I'm particularly involved in or interested in. But for those who are, I think having more transfer partners is good, as you said, and this is not a this is not a lower level as Key was saying. Like this is a pretty at least mid-tier to upper tier for the properties, which is always good. So more options, good. Citi, not for RJ. That's my overall thought.
I'm looking at some of these prices and some of these cash prices, and they're eye-watering. But I'm also looking at New York City.
The cash prices are insane. I even looked at one in New Orleans. No,
Yep.
these are exclusively points only.
So, good point transfer rate. It's interesting. Good on Citi to add another hotel partnership. Would still love to see Citi somehow land one of the big four as well. Maybe if one of the big four gets a little bit more points ecosystem promiscuous, that would be great. But Citi doing well with what they have. So yeah, that's the I prefer news there. We're going to move over to topics, and Key, we'll start with your topic this week.
Sure. My topic is how often are you evaluating your annual fees? And additionally, are there any triggers that kind of cause you to kind of go through that motion? Am I also answering first or shall I answer last?
You can answer in any order in which you choose. You can throw it to one of us, however you want to do it.
Oh, lovely. I'm going to throw it to Matt to answer first. I'll go last.
So I hilariously only have 2 cards with annual fees. My Chase Sapphire Reserve and the JetBlue business card. Right now, the JetBlue business card pretty much I get 5,000 points every anniversary for that card. That is, at 1 cent per point, that's an extra that's $50 going right back into like my JetBlue travel pool. I don't have to do anything other than pay the annual fee. That's great. At the moment, I don't see myself reevaluating and canceling that card. The only reason why I would cancel that card right now is not annual fee related. It would just be to see if I reapply for it using my business structure now, if I might get a higher limit on that card, because I don't have any other Barclays cards to transfer limits over to that card. My alternative is just to apply for a Barclays card with that I could get a higher limit and then move that limit over. So no intentions of canceling that card. Then the Sapphire Reserve, I have not so far had any reason to evaluate it, cancel it in terms of keep or cancel. The DoorDash credits that were added are a little bit of a pain, but every other ecosystem is going to, for their like top tier card, is going to have those extra hoops that you have to jump through. The $300 travel credit, super easy. I appreciate that it is outside of the Chase portal. I can use it on whatever travel I want, which is great. So right now, I haven't had anything trigger where it's, oh, I have to reevaluate whether or not I'm going to keep this card. That could change if there is a massive change to the card. Obviously, I think if the card is getting revamped, when the cards are getting revamped, you should look at how the revamp is going to affect your ability to use the cards. But at the moment, nothing has happened where I've had to say, oh, well, forget the chase card. Like, I'm good for Lift Pink for the remainder of this year, all of next year, and then I pay 50% for Lift Pink in the third year. Like, that's not a reason to worry about the card. Now, when that goes away, which it's October, we haven't heard anything. Doesn't mean it's absolutely going away, but doesn't mean it's not. It doesn't mean it's staying. If that is lost and there's no suitable replacement for it going forward, that will be part of a reevaluation when it comes time that I have to fully pay for it. Like, is that something that's going to be worth like 200 of the $300 in my annual fee reimbursement? So for right now, there's nothing that's triggering anything. I would say big events for me would be a overhaul of the Chase Sapphire Reserve, which I think is desperately needed. And whatever comes out on the other side of that is when I'll start to reassess things, depending on what they do or don't do. Right now, it's great. It could be less great very shortly. Or it could be less great, 4 years from now. Who knows?
Thank you, Matt. I appreciate that. We're just gonna go around the horn. Tariq.
So, evaluating my annual fees cards, I'm going to look at it on two sides. For one being the acquisition side when I'm opening new cards, and then the retention side. So I'll go ahead and start with the retention side. Right now, I only have two annual fee cards at the moment. That being my Sapphire Preferred and my Hyatt Business. Take a shot for every time I say that word if you want to. I apologize for any alcohol-induced problems. In the meantime, I'll start with the Sapphire Preferred. Yeah, it's a $95 annual fee. I like Chase Transfer Partners. It's my initiation fee to use the transfer partners. So for as long as I like using Hyatt and United, I will probably just keep the card, with the exception of maybe possibly, getting a new sign-up bonus every 4 years just because I like Chase points. I mean, I don't think there's really any triggers that could make me be like, oh no, I don't want this card. I mean, even if they were to like up the annual fee and do like a grocery credit and then like a 2x catch-all, I would still keep the card because then it would just be a better earner. So yeah, that card is really not going anywhere except renewing it every 4 years. Now the Hyatt Business, I got it because I wanted more Hyatt points. It kind of keeps me at bay, so I'm not like sub hunting every month. And I looked at the $199 annual fee, and I was like, for the first year, $200 to earn these extra points, plus the two $50 statement credits are cool. But I just don't think I would keep it going forward if it at the $200 price point. Now, if it was like 99 or maybe even 149, I'll even go that far. I think it could be better justifiable because of the two $50 statement credits. But I just think I don't think I'll be getting enough to justify the $200 annual fee for me, just because the earning I could get, like when I eventually get the personal Hyatt card, and then like it's a lower annual fee and I get the free certificate that I actually will use because I stay at enough category 1 through 4s per night, or 1 through 4s throughout the year. So that's it for the retention side. Oh, I'm lying. I have a third one, the IHG business card, which that IHG business card, I like it, $99, and I get a free night cert, and I like earning IHG points, and the platinum status is great on it too. And I will also be getting the personal one for those very same reasons. So I guess that segues to the acquisition side. I plan on in 2025 getting all like 4 cards, and all 4 of them will have an annual fee, but 2 of them will have the annual fee waived. Of the ones that I'm getting the annual fee waived, the United Explorer and the United Business card, $95 and $99 annual fees respectively after year 2. Club passes, I will use in the first year. Second year, not so much. I'll probably downgrade the personal Explorer, keep the business, just because I like that 5,000 better together thing, and I figured, why not? I also plan on getting the Club Infinite for two reasons. One, to just add up on the extra United miles for the sign up bonus, because I'd be great to have it. I don't think I can have enough United miles. Plus, with my travel plans coming up for 2025 and also 2026 in the future, I'll be traveling for two. And I want to be able to make sure that not only me, but also my favorite travel companion, we both get lounge access all the time. My home airport has a United Club. I want to get to the airport 3 hours early, stay at a club. If I have a layover or connection, 3 hour layover, want to do the club for that instead of sitting at the gate. So I feel like even though it's a $525 annual fee, I feel like just getting the discounted United Club access versus paying, I think it's like $650 versus just paying it outright in cash. I'd much rather just pay the discount. And then, yeah, I'll get value from the $75 IHG credit, because either I'll do it for like a restaurant or even maybe do like a points plus cash booking just so I can use the credit, because I'll stay at enough IHGs for the year and then add that on to my IHG premieres. Yeah, same with the personal premiere. I like the credit that I get. The platinum status will be redundant since I have it on both the personal and the business. I'll probably be more in to put more personal or reserve the hotel on the personal card, but do like more everyday spend on the business just for utilization purposes. But all in all, I think that every annual fee card that I'm getting is serving a purpose. So I don't think for the time being, reevaluating my annual fee cards won't be like a huge issue for me.
Okay. RJ.
So unlike my co-hosts, I am drowning in annual fee cards. I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 9 cards with annual fees, including both Amex Platinums. So I think about annual fees, I think a little bit differently than Matt and Tariq do, and just in terms of I'm spending about $3,000 in annual fees a year. I'm not suggesting that that's like a higher level of credit carding. But I just have different cards, right? If you're part of the Amex ecosystem, you're going to probably pay an annual fee more often and higher than other ecosystems. That's just what Amex does. It's part of the deal. For me, I have to be an Amex in terms of Delta. Like if I want Delta points, I have to be an Amex. That is not a want. There is only one transfer partner. And because I'm out of a regional, I can't do swaps with like a Flying Blue partner. Gotta have straight Delta points or straight Delta miles if I want to transfer to Delta. So how do I look at it? I'm not going to go one by one because the show is going to be long enough without me going through all 9 of them. And I don't want to edit myself. So, I sort of look at it value, right? I have 2 business cards, the platinum and the gold. Platinum is definitely gone. I get all of the benefits that I regularly use from the personal platinum. I don't need to have 2 copies of the platinum. The personal platinum gives me more benefits from what it has than the business anyway. The gold, 95% chance that I cancel it, but you never know. It really is going to come down to what it gives me. These are membership fees for points, right? I cannot earn points without paying a membership fee to Amex for what I want to do, so I got to pay it. Ultimately, it's that gut feeling of, does this annual fee feel right? I just got the Choice Select card. It's $95 for a year. That feels about right for what I'm getting. It actually might be a little low for what I'm getting with what they have, because you get yearly points, you actually get some fairly good earnings, all of that. If it was, $150, I still probably would pay it. And I think ultimately that's where I fall on annual fees. If they upped it a little bit, would I still want the card? Yes. The gold, they upped the annual fee a little bit. I still want the card because ultimately I use the Dunkin' credit and that basically covers the difference between the two. I I'm not the primary grocery shopper, but I still occasionally have to stop at the store and buy some toothpaste or something, right? Like going to a grocery store is a thing that you do, even if you're not the primary grocery shopper in your house, right? Like that's a very common thing. I might as well earn 4 MR points every time I do. I eat food. That is a thing I have to do as a human. So it's helpful, right? So all of these things sort of, it's that feeling of, is this worth it? Now, if the green goes to 250, am I going to keep that card? Maybe not, right? Because I don't know what 250 unless they add something to it, if that's worth it for me. So a lot of it just comes down to gut feeling. I'm sure there are people, Spathco, maybe one of them, who's like having, a small aneurysm at the feeling of gut feelings versus hard data. But ultimately it's just tolerance, right? Like, do you have the tolerance to pay? I am taking 2 cards that I did not pay an annual fee on this year and turning them into Delta reserves if Amex will let me do that next year, because the companion pass is any flight I get out of my regional airport for first class is going to be more than the annual fee of those cards. So that alone covers me for annual fees on those cards. So why not, right? Why not? If I'm going to fly at least once a year with people, I am going to fly at least once a year for people. I might as well get those cards and get silver status right off the bat. So for me, it really depends. I'd like to keep it under like 4,000, but also like life happens. Sometimes my annual fees get high. I bring them down when I can. I don't bring them down when I can't. That's what I got.
Bring them down when they can, bring them down when you can't. I love it. Thank you all. I asked that question, right? I'm kind of going through my own methodology right now and strategy right now. The reason why I chose to evaluate my annual fees was, honestly, I've been in the game for 10 plus years at this point, collecting credit cards. I have had 87 credit cards in my collection, which is great. I hope and I know that they're going to keep approving me. So 100 is right around the corner for sure. Um, and I don't know if that was the goal, but I feel like that's the goal, right? Let's just hit 100 and then let's dial it back. But I also was coming around to a lot of cards I could get for a second time. The Chase Sapphire products, the Citi Strata products, a lot of the cards that I can now reapply for because they have these lifetime, or not lifetime language, but language where you can only get them after X number of years. So that's really how I started this kind of journey that I'm on right now, in terms of like annual fee cleanup, and even some of the no annual fee cards I have in my wallet are getting the axe as well. Um, Overall, I think just slimming down my portfolio. And I'm going to have to really ask myself some tough questions because I don't have a personal platinum, RJ, but I really love the 35% points rebate on the business platinum. But you could argue, do I need the business platinum when I have the Delta Reserve? Right? So all of these questions that I have to like definitely ask myself as I look for a new year, look forward to 2025 here. And, I'm definitely going to bring everyone along that journey. And please, you all, please help me out wherever you can. I would love that. Thanks for helping me tonight.
Yeah, I hope my answer was helpful. I also know that like I pay the least in annual fees. Well, I pay the least amongst RJ, Lonnie, and myself. Tariq will eventually add that big boy card that puts him in our conversation. But for now, like I only have 2 cards with annual fees. Like I don't know how hopeful I can be, especially as they're cards that I have no problems with now. Then it's a question of what happens next. Um, but yeah,
That's
I'm
true.
glad we could help. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, no, definitely appreciate it. And it's not even a competition, right? Just we all think a lot differently than each other. And I think that's what's so valuable about this community. I'm grateful I found all of y'all. So that's what I value for sure, is just different approaches, right? We don't have to always agree, but I want to hear you out for sure. I definitely want to hear you out. Um, and it's definitely not a competition. So just because you're not paying any annual fees or not as many or even more than I am, great. We can all still learn
Yeah.
from each other.
No, absolutely. That's the beauty of the Points and Miles game and the communities that we've been building here on YouTube. Or on YouTube, sorry, not here on YouTube. What y'all know what I mean. Anyway, RJ, your topic for this week.
So I want to know how much you guys think about or worry about overlap when you get a credit card. Dining is going to be on a good number of cards across ecosystems, regardless of if we want it to or not, right? The green has dining for Amex. Do I need the green to have dining instead of gas? No, but it is there nonetheless. Some amount of overlap can be helpful just from my own experience, like having it on Chase, having it on Amex, having it elsewhere. It's nice to be able to sort of pick what ecosystem I want to put those points in. But, if I have 4 cards that all have, dining on Chase, like eventually it's just like, okay, cool. Like you could come up with a new category every once in a while, right? So I want to know how much you guys think about this. Does it bug you? Do you look for cards that sort of have unique categories just to cover more of that quote catch-all spend in something else? Matt, how much do you think about overlapping categories as a man who I know overthinks a lot of things?
So many things. Um, Part of the reason I don't have the Freedom Unlimited or Freedom Flex is the 3 times on dining. That is a very big part of why I haven't pulled the trigger on either of those cards. Now, if the Freedom Unlimited comes back around with its double cash back on everything for a year, I'll absolutely grab it because now those earnings are elevated. Like it's 3x across the board for catch all, then it's 6 times for dining. Like when that offer comes around, that's a great offer. That becomes my dining card. That kind of becomes my everything card. But we're not in that reality right now. So for me, I have no problem with overlapping categories across different issuers. So if I want more Wells Fargo points, I'll use the autograph. But if my primary dining card is typically my Sapphire Reserve or a card I'm working a welcome offer on. So it's Sapphire Reserve, welcome offer, then the autograph at this point. If I'm not working a welcome offer, then the autograph is my backup dining card. Do I worry about dining on other cards? Unless I'm desperate to add JetBlue points, I don't pull out my JetBlue card for dining. And I leave my Capital One card mostly untouched. So I do think about the overlapping, but I'm fine with overlapping in different categories, in different card issuers or different card ecosystems. So if I have, I also have a Hilton card with elevated dining. So I will think about those. I don't put a ton of thought into that just because I know that I'm spreading myself out and diversifying my point pools. But I don't like the overlap to be in one sitting in one ecosystem. So I should only have one Chase dining card. I should only have one Wells Fargo dining card, one Hilton dining card. Whether that Hilton dining card is the Honors or the Aspire, doesn't matter. I'm only going to use one of those cards for dining. So yeah, I have 2 gas cards. I have 2 streaming cards. I have I have 3 streaming cards now with the Attune. So the Attune also can fill in for like getting that second half that you mentioned, getting that elevated kind of catch-all in categories that you don't typically come across. Like when I go to Barclays, if I find myself at Barclays Center this year, not Barclays Center, sorry, UBS Arena. If I find myself at UBS Arena to watch an Islanders game, I'm pulling out the Attune card. If I traveled to Columbus to go to Nationwide Arena to hear the Cannons, I will pull out the Attune card. So that card was gotten to elevate that category. But in my everyday day-to-day spend, I know that I have overlap across issuers. I'm fine with that. I don't want 6 Chase cards all with the same category. Like that is where I have my conniptions about like Chase or American Express if I had the green and the gold and only one of them needs dining to me. but that's just because I want other categories like gas or EV charging or entertainment. So yeah, everyday card in my everyday lineup. I've got 2 dining cards, but really one's a backup to the other. So uh yeah, that's the best way I can answer that without repeating it for a third time.
Key is somebody with about 100 cards, nearly there. You're knocking on the 100 card. First off, out of the top of your head, do you think half of them have a dining category? And what do you think about overlapping points in general?
Yeah, definitely more than half of them probably have a dining category for sure. Um, have I considered overlapping categories? Obviously, the answer is no. Going forward, that's definitely going to be a huge part of my rationalization project I have going on here with the card portfolio. I definitely think that, you know, I really only need maybe one or two everyday type of cards. For me, I genuinely carry one card in my phone wallet here at a time. And that's usually a card I'm working on a minimum spending requirement for. Everywhere else, I try to use Apple Pay. So the US Altitude Reserve definitely gets a lot of use for me. Um, but going forward, will I need as many points and miles going forward? I'm not sure. So definitely something I'll have to consider if I keep getting brand new cards or strictly start to have a genuine wallet that I carry that has, you know, specific cards for things. But we'll see. We'll see.
Do you know off the top of your head your favorite like oddball category from your card collection that you enjoy that you have this as a category?
Yeah, streaming services for sure. I frequently revisit my budget and I'm definitely starting to do that more as well. I pay for a lot of streaming services. I don't know about y'all. So that's definitely a sneaky category that I have on a month-to-month basis. I don't know if that's good or bad, but definitely something that I earn a lot of points from.
Yeah, as a sports fan, I pay for all of the services because the sports leagues have decided that you have to have like 2 random games on Peacock, which means I gotta pay for Peacock, and if I'm gonna get it, I'm just gonna get it for the year. But yeah, I freaking football on Peacock. Um, Tariq, as somebody with about 90% of his wallet being Chase, how many dining cards do you have? And do you think about overlapping categories for your new card acquisitions?
So first thing, wanted to touch on the sports thing. It's about even worse with basketball. So I prepared for the nightmare. Yeah, so I was looking at my wallet for all the chase cards that I have. I have 6 chase cards. 5 of them have a dining category in some way, shape, or form. It is stupid, but in reality, I don't really think about it too much. I don't really care. Uh, at first, I was using my Freedom Flex for the dining before I got my Sapphire Preferred. Then I got the Sapphire Preferred. Then it was Q2, and I got like 7x standing on the Freedom Flex. So I just go with whatever's going to give me the most earning for that. So right now it's just the Sapphire Preferred because I get that 10% boost, like at the 10% back on the amount that you spent on UR. It's weird, but I'm like, cool. It's like effectively 3.1% or 3.1x. So I'm like, I'll use the Sapphire Preferred just for that reason. But in reality, it could be one or the other. Um, it would be nice if Chase were to give me, or I would have different cards that have other categories, like a permanent grocery or permanent gas, instead of relying on, you know, the quarter that the Freedom Flex is, or at least for this year for me, that first year I have 5x gas and grocery. But it would be nice. I mean, I know the Sapphire Preferred with how I do like most of my meal planning in groceries now, like I'll be able to use that 3x online grocery. So yay. Um, so I guess that's not as bad anymore. So for Chase, it's just kind of like, for the most part, like the next few Chase cards are going to be co-branded cards. So I'll just like work on the sub and then really work on the benefits. So I don't really think about it too much. Now I do have some cashback cards that also have like overlapping categories. I have the Saver One and the Blue Cash every day, so I can still earn like 3% on groceries. So I'll probably use the Blue Cash every day for the groceries. Added those two just because Capital One gave me a stupid baby limit, and I have to wait another 6 months to get my additional $100 on my credit limit because Capital One likes to keep me in the bucket. But all in all, it's just kind of there. And do I wish that there was more variety in the categories that I earn? Yes. Is it like a thing I worry about a lot or like a deterrent? Nah. I'll earn my points, spend the way they want me to spend, and then I'll be happy and they'll be happy. Cool. So, cool.
I'm going to challenge you for 2025 to find a transfer partner you like that has nothing to do with Chase. That is my challenge for you in 2025 because
I prefer.
you need
Okay, cool.
you need some
I got I
diversity in
prefer.
your life, sir. You need
I
a little bit of variety because that is the spice of life. So that's what for all the listeners, that's what I will be pushing Tariq for in 2025. So you have been warned.
Hey, what do you know? Citi just had a new transfer partner that has for good hotels, so maybe I found it. Cool.
All right, we're going to move over to my topic for this week. That is, do unique transfer partnerships drive consumer acquisition to transferable currency cards, or is just jumping into a co-brand sufficient? So, some background on this. When we look at the points of miles space, when we look at the big four issuers for points of miles, that's American Express, Chase, Capital One, and Citi. A lot of them have the same they all have at least one or two transfer partners that are the same across the board. They all have Aeroplan, they all have Avios, they mostly, well, they don't all have the same hotel, but there is overlap with hotel chains. There's not a lot of unique transfer partners within the ecosystems. Now, American Express has Delta, Chase has United, City has, I prefer now. Um, but do you guys think that transfer currency card acquisition is pushed by these transfer partnerships, or would just jumping onto a co-branded card like the Hyatt card, the Hilton card, the Delta cards, is that sufficient for customer acquisition? Weird philosophical question, I know, but uh, RJ, do you have any thoughts here about means of customer acquisition?
So I think that co-branded can help, right? Because if you go to a Delta flight and you like it and you want a Delta card, well, Amex is your only option, right? And same way with United and Chase. So I think that helps. I definitely think that helps. I think if you're moderately fluent in credit cards, you're going to realize in a lot of ways having those transferable currencies is going to get you farther in the long term, right? Like, yes, having a Hilton card helps, but if you need to top up and you don't want to use the Hilton card, having Amex can help there, right? Like there are ways to augment and supplement things. So I think that it really is going to depend on the partnership. Like for airlines, I think United and Delta are very big draws for Chase and for Amex because of who they are. I think hotels, it's less. I think Hyatt is sort of the weird exception because of how their point structure works. But I think, like, if you're a big Hilton fan, yeah, you'll probably get the Amex card. But I don't know how many people who stay at Hilton's regularly even have a Hilton card, right? Like that is a smaller percentage than I think we would probably think about because I think most of the people like I, for a while, probably 7, 8 years ago, I had a Delta card and I just used it as a regular credit card. I wasn't even thinking about it as just a Delta card, right? Like I just used it because I was younger and, foolish in my youth. Um, but now it's like I use the card for sort of its more intended purpose, quote unquote. So I think that's what a lot of people do is they try to use it for, if it's a co-brand, they try to use it for the intended purpose. So I think it's six of one, half a dozen of the other. I think it really is going to depend on the person and how you're thinking about it, how you're coming to credit cards. So I think both of them are really strong paths. It's just you might attract some more people that are like, oh, I really like Delta, so I want a card, versus I want to be able to transfer out to, British Airways to do this thing to get a backdoor in this way. So I think it really is going to depend on the person who's doing it.
Makes sense, but you're not going out and getting like the Amex Gold because you can transfer to Qantas
No, but
or
I think if you're
Aeromexico.
transferring to Qantas, you have bigger problems than if you're getting the Amex Gold or not.
Fair. This is only 500 points. Uh, Tariq, do unique transfer partnerships drive customer acquisition, or would just jumping into the co-brand work? Knowing
So
your affinity for Hyatt.
yeah. So I think it kind of depends on the type of person, as RJ mentioned. I feel like for the people that are like getting into the credit card game and are like watching, whether it be like like I'll say like the entry level YouTubers, the Ben Hedges, Ask Sebbies, you name them, the ones that we all kind of start with the beginning with. I think they look at those partners and they look at the transferable currencies and just seeing how it makes it a little bit easier to kind of learn the game in that sense. And I think that's where like a lot of people in that sense start. And then they usually go with, like, once they know the partners that they are going to stick with, like their bread and butter partners, then they'll start going into the co-branded cards. At least that's how I did it. I started off with, getting the Sapphire Preferred, getting the Freedom Unlimited or Freedom Flex, getting the Ink Unlimited, just earning a bunch of UR points. And then I'm like, okay, cool. The well's kind of running dry. I know I still have avenues, but I'm like, okay, cool. I know I'm going to rock with United. I know I'm going to rock with Hyatt. I know I'm going to rock with IHG. Let me just start getting those co-branded cards and start earning the values from that. Because obviously with co-branded cards, it comes with different benefits and value where you're paying the annual fee. Even if it's just like you're getting the basic Hilton Honors card, you're at least going to get Hilton Silver status. So I think that in that sense is where it kind of starts. Obviously, you have, depending on who you're going to be flying with your main airlines, it kind of helps. Like if you're going to be rocking with United, your options are Chase and Bilt. I mean, if you're just going to do Southwest, just Chase, every, I'll say the big four transfer partner or big four. And I'll be honest, let's just, at least for airlines, let's just do the big two, Chase, Chase and Amex, because Citi and American aren't like trying to be a transfer partner. America's just doing their own thing. So I think with those, at least with airlines, you're kind of stuck between those two where it's like, okay, cool. I know I want to fly United. I got Chase and Bilt, or I know I want to fly Delta, Amex. So I think the exclusivity of those unique transfer partners does help because it does facilitate what ecosystem, what bank you're going to be dealing with. Whereas if you're more of like a free agent, don't really care, like you don't have like a primary, you don't have a secondary, you're kind of just open to whatever cards and whatever value. So it really just plays to the type of person that's in the game. Because for some people that don't even want to deal with transfer partners and they just want to be like, they want to have a Marriott card. They're going to go for the Marriott Bonvoy Brilliant, have that card. They know they're going to stay at Marriott's, be whatever, same thing. Or they know they're going to be with Southwest, they're going to get the Rapid Rewards priority card, call it a day. So it kind of just depends where, like, the type of person and where they want to be, and like what their strategy or what their tolerance level is, because not everyone's going to want to get 5, 10, 20, 40, you name an X in number of cards just to try to maximize their value. Some people just want 1 or 2 cards and call it a day.
I got it. Key, your thoughts here?
Yeah, I think that the majority of people not watching this, but just the majority of people probably go for a co-branded card just because of the fact, like, of the regional marketing that happens. Um, Whether that's a hotel they frequent, an airline that they, kind of takes over their home airport, or what have you, or just their parents had it. So that's like, oh, I got that as my first card because my parents had it or my friend had it. Um, so I I think that most people kind of go after the co-brands. I think that we all are super unique, right? We're talking about transferring points out and things like that. I know there is a large majority of people that, even though they have a Chase Sapphire Preferred or even a Chase Sapphire Reserve, they don't know anything about transferring. Like, everything we just talked about is probably a foreign language to those type of folks, and that's okay. I think that they either do the gift card thing, and actually, I'm pretty confident they do the gift card thing, or they do just in the portal. If they even travel at all. I think there's just definitely just some people that get caught up in the marketing, and they get cards that don't even make sense for them. Um, so yeah, I think number one, co-branded cards probably are the majority of folks, if not transferable cards, but I want to say with an asterisk that they're probably not using the transferability of the card appropriately.
Okay. Thanks for that, Key. And Tariq, your topic to close us out.
All right, cool. I'm gonna close it. All right, so all of us in this little quadrant that we in these quadrants that we have, safe to say we have at least 5. I would even say go as far as say at least 10 credit cards. So I feel like we're prone to have like one of the cards where we're just like, why the hell did I get this? So the question I have for y'all, do y'all have any cards where you just had like some sort of buyer's remorse for? And if you did, like, what was the card specifically? And like, why did you get it? And why do you feel like you regret getting the card now? And I think I'm gonna go ahead and start with you, Matt. I want to see what are your cards? I don't know how like your acquisition was, but I'm just curious.
Oh, no, as mentioned previously, it's the X1 card. That card was I applied for it just basically because ooh, shiny on social media. It was the whole like drop test and oh, here's how it sounds versus the Apple card. And like yeah, I fell hook, line, and sinker for that card, and the Dave Hansen videos about it and all of that. And now I'm at a point where I'm sitting here going, yeah, I don't like this card anymore, and I need to cash out my points. The only thing that's really holding me up about canceling this card is just like the utilization play that it'll be because they gave me a huge credit line for it. But after I get that, like get over that, I'll be fine. I need like one more personal card. It's no annual fee. I can close it at any time. I can let it lapse after like 60 days of non-use. So yeah, and it'll stay on my credit report. That's fine. It's just the utilization play right now. I regret getting that card. I am happy that at least like I wised up to the whole concept of points and miles about a year later, and I started and I didn't put myself in a position where that would have taken me over Chase's artificial scarcity numbers so that I couldn't at least get a couple of Chase cards to start. So I lucked out there unintentionally. And yeah, it's just a dumb card. Nobody should have signed up for that card. And now it's even dumber now that it's being administered by Robinhood. And Robinhood has done nothing with the card aside from no longer have it be publicly available. And I'm not even sure what exactly they're doing with supporting the card. Like, I'm going to cash out for a gift card, probably to DoorDash or Instacart, and just be done with it.
Yeah, that card was just like one of those weirdo flex cards. So I feel you on that one. RJ, you got a buttload of cards, and you just talked about having a high amount of annual fees for the amount of cards you have. You got ones where you're just like, I wish I didn't get this.
So I do, and it's not going to be the cards you think it's going to be. So I've talked about my journey with the Venture X. But funny enough, now that I'm using Choice as my backup to Hilton, that card actually is really handy. So I've sort of come full circle on that one. I ended up getting the points over from the sub to Hilton in a backdoor weird sort of way, which have worked out well for me. I will not be doing that again, but I can just send them to Choice, which works out really well. And I like Choice, but I actually and I don't think it's going to be a shock. It'll be a shock for which cards, but I don't think it'll be a shock when I explain. Is I kind of regret getting into Chase. Not necessarily because I think the Freedom Unlimited and the Sapphire Preferred are necessarily bad cards. Um, but the reason is I don't have a natural transfer partner with them anymore. Right? I really thought I was going to go Marriott, number one. Um, and I'm not, right? It's down to 3 or 4, which means that yes, the points that I get go to Marriott, right? Because that's the only real transfer partner I have to send them out, but it doesn't necessarily do me much good, right? Because from now until, next year when I can potentially downgrade the Sapphire Preferred or just get rid of the cards in general, once the 0 APR on the Unlimited runs out, I don't know if I'm going to keep them because Chase in general doesn't do me much good. Maybe I keep the Freedom Unlimited because it's 0 annual fee, but then I can't do anything with the points if I get rid of the Sapphire Preferred, right? So it becomes this thing of because of how Chase's point system works, I either have to keep a $95 fee card that I don't think I'm going to use to send out points on another card I don't think I'm going to use after next year. For a points ecosystem, I don't necessarily think I need to be involved in to do what I want to do. So I think honestly it's probably Chase, and it was really the Chase trifecta videos that I watched, and it made sense when I'm watching the videos, and then I get the cards and I go, it makes sense, but not for me. And I think ultimately, one of the things I harp on is pick your partners and then pick your cards. And I did not follow my own advice, and I think that's why I'm so dogmatic about it, because I didn't follow that advice. So ultimately, I think my answer is Chase, simply because I am not the person that uses Chase points naturally without a lot of thought or without just shipping them to Marriott and then I got to figure out what I'm going to do once they're in Marriott. So yeah, it's going to be Chase. Every other card I have a purpose for except for those 2 cards.
I'm honestly not surprised that you said Chase from conversations that we've had. I completely get it. I mean, at the end of the day, depending on how many points you have, you may just, for simplicity's sake, just cash them out so you don't have to worry about trying to transfer them to Marriott and using the Marriott or do like that weird Marriott 3-to-1 transfer with their partners. So I get it. Key. So since you have, I think out of everyone that I know or know of, have more credit cards than I can think of, I'm curious to see what 1, 2, or 20 cards that you may have just like, probably shouldn't have gotten.
Yeah. Similar to RJ, there's definitely some cards that made sense when I heard people talk about them. But then after I acquired them, I was like, what? It's going to take me 900 years to get through this point stash that I've accumulated. So I did 2 business, 2 personal. First one, I'll start with the personal side, is the Citi Custom Cash. Um, I regrettably did not get a Citi Prestige card when that was available to me, and it was the even better Prestige card that no one really talks about. It was uncapped, fourth night free. It was, you got 4 round of golf. It was like all sorts of stuff that came on that card. But because I missed out on that, I was like, oh, the Citi Custom Cash comes with 5x on a rotating category. Now, we talked earlier about how, how many overlapping categories do we get? I'm not the type of person that's going to be rotating my Citi Custom Cash to get 2,500 extra points a month. So that card doesn't make sense to me. I still love Citi though, so I take that with a grain of salt. I just don't love that card for me. The next personal card here is the Navy Federal Platinum card. I don't remember the time frame I got this card. I do know that it was like a time where people were really talking about Navy Federal, like the personal finance people I was watching were talking about Navy Federal, the credit card people were talking about Navy Federal, and I just felt like that was an ecosystem. Like, I should get into that. Again, this particular card makes absolutely no sense to me. Even when I got it, like my portfolio was more advanced than this card offers rewards for. I don't even know if it has rewards. So yeah, this card's awful. Two business cards are the Chase Ink Premier. That was just my bad. I was rushing through an application. I thought it was the Citi Ink Preferred, the $95 fee card. The card art really got me. So that's just a mistake on my part. But that card, again, if you're not like a significant like drop shipper or manufacturing even, or I don't know, right? Something that's spending like large amounts of money annually, this card really doesn't make sense. In my opinion, and you can't combine your your Chase Ultimate Rewards points into that like normal pool account that you can. I got lucky. If you know that story, you know that story, but doubt that's ever going to happen again. Last card is the Capital One Spark Miles card. I was going for the Venture X, and I didn't know at the time, didn't do my research, that this Spark Miles card counted towards my 524. So again, just again, on my part, I make mistakes. I'm willing to own up to them even today, right? I've had all these cards and still make mistakes. So learn from me, pay attention, do your homework, and make sure you're applying for the right card for sure.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. So I guess I can go ahead and say mine before we wrap up. So when I thought about mine, I was thinking about like the cashback cards I had, but I don't necessarily regret them because one of them would have been, this is a local credit union, my Randolph Brooks cashback 2% card. I guess I could say I regret it now, mostly because I don't really go deep in the cashback. So same thing with like my Navy Federal card. But the Randolph Brooks one is just, they changed the strategy. Like they changed the reward redemption. It's like, minimum $5 redemption. And then it's only like statement credit. I'm not going to use the travel portal. Navy Federal, I got for the $300, I think it's like a $350 bonus. And then, if I really need to go back to cashback, it's the Cash Rewards Plus I got upgraded to. So I get 2% back because Navy Federal gave me like a stupid high limit when I was like a college student still working like part-time. So thanks, Navy Federal, probably because I was like, have 15 years experience. The one card that I will say that I regret getting, and I only got it because what I thought was a good idea at the time, and also they gave me like a coupon. It is the Target Red card, now the Target Circle card. And the reason why I regret that card is because I really looking back, I burned a 524 slot for no reason because I had the Target debit card, which is the exact same thing. Like you get the 5% discount regardless. And I think I got it because I was working at Target. So I saw the marketing, which I'm the one pushing the card, which I don't even push the card because I don't like pushing credit cards on people when I was working retail. Like, no. And like, cool, I think I got like a $40 coupon. And like at the time, like when the way I was doing my credit cards, I would make the purchase and then go straight to customer service to pay the card off versus like it being like a 3 business day like draft from my checking account. But in retrospect, I could have just been patient, save the 524 slot, and still get 5% off my Target purchase from the exact same card. And maybe I could have done my Chase, like I could have got like my Freedom Flex card like a couple months early had I not just get that card. So yeah, that's my dumb one. That's my why did I get that? And just if you're gonna go get a Target card, if you shop there enough, just get the debit card. It's not even worth getting the credit card.
There we go. All right. Well, looks like that is going to put the cap on another episode of Stack Your Points. Do we have any closing thoughts from anyone before we sign off?
Go Pack, go.
All right, that's fair. All right. Key, if folks wanted to find you across the interwebs, where's the best place to find you?
My handle on Instagram is Kiki Adventures. My Venmo is Kiki Adventures. And my YouTube channel is Kiki Adventures. So feel free to hit me up or make any donations you'd like on your respective platform. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Key,
Absolutely. Thank you, Key.
Just gave you a follow on Instagram.
Perfect.
RJ, where can we find you on the great expanses of the interwebs?
You can find me at Do You Take Cards in the Stack Your Points Discord.
And Tariq, where can we find you on the webs of inner?
So you can find me at my soon to be posting YouTube channel, Reeks Rewards. I'm almost finished kind of figuring out my how to, and I've kind of done dragging my feet in the mud, and I just want to get it over with now. So that's coming soon. And other than that, you can find me at the Stack Your Points Discord, where I'm just probably whining about the Saints, well, was before, or just me being like the weird roadrunner that I am in the sports channel.
I mean, I might have to take a 2-month hiatus for you to start actually posting a video. You're going to lose 2 months of credit card news. You're going to lose 2 months of tidbits. And for some people, that might be a bonus.
People would be pissed. So that is a strong incentive. So yeah,
Get it done.
No, okay, yeah, cool.
Absolutely. And as always, this is Stack Your Points podcast. We record on Monday nights. We put out on Wednesday, Friday, and the following Monday. The full show is available on the podcatcher of your choice. We are coming in well under 3 hours tonight, so you're welcome. And we look forward to your support there. You can throw us 5 stars on the podcatcher of your choice. Please give us a like and subscribe on YouTube. Join the Stack Your Points Discord channel if you're so inclined. Great vibes over there. Key's a member over there. I'm a member. Tariq's a member. RJ's a member. We've got plenty of other members. Josh from last week is a member in there. Check out all of our channels. Matt Clausen on YouTube. Do You Take Cards for RJ? Reeks Rewards when he finally starts posting a video, and I don't want to go on strike. And Kiki Adventures, as well as Lonnie from the Call Me Lonnie channel. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. Talk to you next week. Bye for now.